Join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And would you please read the minutes from the last meeting?
Board of Trustees of Harlan Township met in regular session this 4th day of June, 2025. At regular meeting placed at 8276 State Route 132. Trustees have Richard Jinsky, Kevin Kern, and Marcus Shelton present. Meeting called to order by Mr. Kern at 7 p.m. Mr. Kern asked all present to stand and say Pledge of Allegiance. Minutes read from regular session May 7, 2025. Mr. Shelton made a motion to approve minutes as read, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski. Chief Pegram reported a total of 34 fire and EMS runs for May and received mutual aid for 14 runs. Chief Pegram reported Engine 81 needs new rear brakes, received quotes from Atlantic Fire Equipment for repairs. After discussion, Mr. Kern made a motion to approve repairs to Engine 81 not to exceed $8,000, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski. Chief Pegram discussed 4 Swift water rescue suits with helmets and SCBA dive communication system with hose, rope, and mass surplus items. After discussion, Chief Pegram recommended donating items to Loveland Sims Fire Department Task Force 1. Mr. Kern made a motion to donate equipment, seconded by Mr. Brzezinski. Chief Pegram reported air conditioning repair on Squad 81 and Squad 82 received service and oil change. Chief Pegram reported fire cadets had successful combined training on May 17th. Chief Pegram discussed inactive members of the fire department. Chief Pegram recommended termination of Lee Vegas, Casey Shepard, Austin Taylor, Tracy Rapid, and Jacob Miller effective June 4, 2025 due to inactivity. Mr. Brzezinski made a motion to terminate membership, seconded by Mr. Shelton. Chief Pegram discussed failure of fire levy. He has met with neighboring departments and all have stated not able to continue making mutual aid runs due to not being able to have crew from our fire department. Chief Pegram stated that without funding from levy, Harlan Township will have no fire or EMS coverage. Chief Pegram plans to meet with the past levy committee members to recommend placing a levy on November 2025 ballot. Chief Pegram discussed the fleet reduction and replacements. New truck on order will be replacing the 2014 Tahoe, the 2009 EMS car, and the 2000 tech trailer that held equipment. Chief Pegram plans to continue using the 2016 Tahoe. Chief Pegram stated anyone with questions or concerns about the fire department contact him and he will answer questions. Mr. Mason reported first road mowing has been completed. Mr. Mason discussed the wheeled excavator. Root has a unit that should be available in October. They are stating if township signs agreement would hold unit to be looked at once delivered, noting will mark unit as sold pending buyer approval. Mr. Mason checking on a couple items prior to recommending signing the agreement. Mr. Mason reported JA Construction plans to start the mastic crack seal within the next 2 weeks. Mr. Mason reported the road repairs completed on Garrison Sperling Road between State Route 28 and the county line. Mr. Mason reported the dumpster at Whitaker Park has been moved up to the maintenance building due to being filled days after Rumpke empties with trash and other debris. Looking into installing cameras if problem continues. Old business, Mr. Brzezinski continues waiting on the mechanical drawings for Station 81 renovations. New business, Mrs. Wiggins discussed the 2026 budget hearing. We'll hold 2026 budget hearing on July 2nd, 2025, starting at 6:15 p.m. Community comments, Bridget Ballard discussed the old school cruise-in on June 21st at Butlerville. Also discussed possibility of having farmers market each week. We'll work on details. Discussed lack of tractors at the tractor show. May need to move to late June and combine tractor, car, and equipment show. Melissa Graydirex asked if township residents will be charged for EMS runs if service is not provided by Harlan Township. Chief Pegram stated that residents will be charged by the EMS provider and EMS provider will charge Harlan Township for recovering the run. Dale Maggie asked if trustees had been working with other government officials to Be proactive on the proposed property tax elimination being discussed. Mr. Shelton stated has worked with officials in the past with no results. Ms. Williams gave written financial report to trustees. Mr. Brzezinski made a motion to pay bills, second by Mr. Shelton. We had no correspondence. Mr. Shelton made a motion to adjourn, second by Mr. Brzezinski. Meeting adjourned at 8:13.
Do either of you have any corrections?
I have one.
I have a motion that accept the minutes is ready.
We'll make a motion.
Second. Thank you, Jimmy. Mr. Pegram, are you ready for your report?
Sure. I'll start off tonight with just some general updates. The new pickup truck was delivered. It's already been lettered and striped, and it'll be leaving to be outfitted with lunchtime radio and equipment. We expect it to be back and in service late July, early August. I attended the third and final all hazard mitigation plan meeting at Warren County today. This is the 5-year plan that has to be renewed every 5 years by all the townships, villages, and municipalities in Warren County in order to get disaster funding. The draft plan will be put out to public comment over the summer, and by November we will have to pass a resolution adopting the county plan. What that does is it opens up state and federal disaster recovery and mitigation grants to everybody in Warren County. An example of that would be, for example, if we wanted to do a future project like installing or replacing outdoor warning sirens, participating in that mitigation plan, passing the resolution is required in order to apply for those grants. So we'll bring you a resolution before November to approve. Next item is the Fire and EMS levy recommendation. We did meet with the Fire and EMS levy committee. After meeting with the committee, we are prepared tonight to recommend to the Board of Trustees a 3.5 mil fire and EMS levy for November. Several members of the levy committee, I believe, are here tonight and asked if they could comment to the Board of Trustees before we took action. They have a comment?
I would highly recommend that we, based on the being there at the committee meeting and hearing everybody else's input and the people I've talked to around the community, I think I would highly recommend that you consider that being put on there, put back on, and I'm committed to work to try to help spread the word around the community so there's better understanding on what the actual cost is. I think there's a lot of confusion on that. And so I think it's very important that everybody gets better understanding on that as well.
Thank you.
So if the board is willing to proceed, the motion is in front of you. I can read it if you'd like me to. Anything? Oh, very good.
No, we got the resolution.
Now this is to go. The
Yeah,
first.
so
This would be to ask the county auditor to certify the millage. So that's the first step, and then once they certify the millage, it will come back to you, and then the next resolution after that would be a motion or a resolution to proceed. Then once you do a resolution to proceed, that then gets sent to the Board of Elections. And then once the Board of Elections certifies all the paperwork, then it goes on the ballot.
Okay. So this
This is not putting it on the ballot.
This is the
asking
wording for the ballot.
Correct. And this is not putting the levy on the November ballot. This is asking the auditor to certify, if we were to put a levy on the ballot, what the dollar amount would be.
Okay.
Resolution number, Jenny?
061825-1.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 061825/1.
Second.
A roll call on that. Mr. Brzezinski?
Yes.
Mr. Kern?
Yes.
Mr. Shelton?
Yes.
Next item, a new volunteer firefighter EMT. So Kennedy Burns graduated from Goshen High School. She also attended the Scarlet Oaks High School Fire and EMS program, graduating with honors. And she now has her Firefighter 2 and EMT certification. So tonight we are requesting the board move Kennedy Burns from cadet to volunteer firefighter EMT status. The motion I'm requesting is a motion to appoint Kennedy Burns as a volunteer firefighter EMT effective today's date.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Thank you. Sad news, the Lieutenant Brian Stiles has tendered his resignation from Harlan Township Fire Rescue. Brian has worked for Harlan Township Fire Rescue for 28 years, 3 as a cadet, and 25 years this month as a firefighter, EMT, and most recently as a lieutenant. Essentially due to his work and family commitments, Lieutenant Stiles has decided it's time to hang up his helmet for the last time, and his last day serving in that capacity will be June 27th. So greatly appreciate his everything he's given to the department and the community, and he has sworn that he will still be active and help out where he can, but he just does not have the time to keep up with certifications and the requirements that we have. So need a motion to approve the resignation of Lieutenant Brian Stiles effective June 27th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve Brian Stiles' resignation.
Second.
Effective June 27th.
Thank you. Last item is, before we adjourn tonight, I would ask that we adjourn into executive session to discuss appointment and compensation of public employees per ORC 12122G1, but I know we have much other things to get to this first. That's my report.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Mason.
All right, I'm gonna be a broken record again on this field excavator. Did some more research. I did supply to you the most updated quote. Discussion at the last meeting was the price and the unknown of what the price would be when this machine become available. If we do execute an agreement, they will lock in the price shown there. So that is a total price of $226,994. That includes the machine as well as the brush cutter. We did switch that brush cutter over to a 60-inch rotary style cutter as opposed to the mulching style head. So that did account for some of the changes. That cutting head's a little bit cheaper. However, the price of the machine did go up a little bit since before, up about $10 since we discussed this earlier in the year. Talked to the salesman yesterday. The agreement they would send over is a DocuSign. Basically, it will reserve the machine, of course, like we discussed at the last meeting. And since we can't go look at one, if we were to go over there when this machine comes in, which is expected September, October delivery, and we go over there and it just seems like this machine's not going to work, it's just different. For whatever reason, it doesn't seem like it's going to work like we think it's going to work. We can then back out of that agreement and purchase that machine. It just because we can't see one, so that's kind of on their end. They understand that we can actually go sit in one. We can go look at a larger one, but we cannot go sit in a smaller one that we have quoted. So I guess I'm asking for discussion on if this machine fits our needs. The purchase price of $226,994. Again, the idea to replace eventually the backhoe as well as the boom mower. We did back when I started this process 8 months ago to a year, had reached out to a vendor to see what a replacement boom mower, so just tractor boom mower. And at that time, it was around $200,000. So very similar price between just a tractor and boom mower and this machine, which would also function as a backhoe, excavator, and brush cutters. We're kind of getting two jobs for one with a similar price. I did have them check into financing options. The interest is not a whole lot cheaper than for anybody else. It's about 7%. My recommendation, if you guys decide to proceed, would be to just spread this across several different 2 or 3 different accounts, whatever Jenny says we're allowed to do, to not hit one of those too hard in any of those available accounts too hard. So questions?
Do you remember exactly the price of the Mechalak?
Oh,
It's still cheaper than the Mechalak, isn't it?
yeah, it was over $300 for the Mechalak, which was a smaller machine. We did price a similarly sized Mechalak, and it was $380,000 because there was no source wheel pricing for that one. So the source wheel price on this one knocks 44.4% off of the list price of the machine. So obviously an expensive piece of machinery.
We already got that locked in though, right? Didn't we do that?
If we did not execute the agreement yet, so because he did not have a price that they would guarantee you at that time. It was kind of, it was.
Okay. As far as discussion, we've already kind of discussed that.
Right. Yeah, so I just wanted, now we have a fixed price, this is what the price is going to be if the machine meets expectation. The 226,994 will be the price of the machine, so I just wanted to have some clarification with that. That if the board was comfortable with going ahead with that purchase at that price, if the machine meets inspection.
You need an actual motion if we're not really purchasing it.
I think we do,
Yes.
just because we're basically saying if this machine meets inspection, that we are willing to purchase for 226,994.
Tentative.
As long as it meets inspection, yes. Yes.
I've learned that.
I do.
Okay.
So really the question I have is.
Tentatively agree to purchase if expectations are met.
Did you say the motion?
I made a motion.
I'm working on writing it out the right way.
Now, do we still have the tractor in future, or is this gonna replace the tractor, boom mower, everything?
So tractor and boom mower would be sold on gov deals. We've had a couple of local agencies that have, we're kind of looking at different options and have reached out, want us to let them know if it does go on gov deals. We have quite a bit of interest in our current boom mower. My thoughts long-term are that we would keep the backhoe for now, eventually transition to a different way to load salt. That's the primary use of the backhoe now, is loading salt in the winter, as well as doing the heavier excavating. The mini excavator works great for the cemeteries, but it just doesn't have enough size to do some of the ditching work that we're trying to do now, as far as strength or digging depth. So the idea was we would just keep the mini just for the cemeteries. We could use it if we had needed something extra, but then eventually put a loader. My thoughts are to put a loader on either this tractor we bush hog with, or if we had to, I don't think we have to necessarily upsize frame size of the tractor. Just trying to consolidate machinery, have one thing that does multiple uses. Obviously, the tractor that runs the bush hog doesn't do anything in the winter besides sit in the barn. So if we could put a loader on it and use it and not have to replace the backhoe in the future, that would be the direction I would recommend.
So the motion that I'm thinking that you would want would be a motion to sign agreement to purchase a wheeled excavator to be inspected after arriving in September or October, and the board agrees meets requirements of the township.
I make that motion.
Second.
All right, I'll have that document prepared. I will send it out to you when I get it in. I'll send it out for all of you to review as well. He just had to have commitment before these financial people put that agreement together. So I will send it out when I get it. If I'm on a roll of spending money, then I go again. Would like a motion for 300 tons of gravel delivered from Miller Mason to refill our stockpile of gravel. That is for $6,500.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
What kind of gravel is that?
I don't know if we're getting three. Is it 304?
I don't know exactly what 304 or 411. Basically the same, but just a little smaller ground.
Right.
They bring 20-ton trucks?
No.
They use the big tires. Okay.
That's less than 22 a ton actually.
Which is do the math.
Just in my head.
We better check that.
So it's 600.
What's 600 times 28?
Come on, man.
There's your accountant right there.
That doesn't mean original math though.
600 times 28 is 16,800.
Is it 300 tons?
300 tons.
And how much?
How's it
That's
make
a Larry price.
Where'd you get the price? Say it's 22 a ton.
Well, let's see, it would be 6,600.
That's delivered.
It's delivered, yeah.
And you get them all gravel from me.
That's.
All right, so cheap. I mean, I'm sure they'll do it for more.
I wasn't sure which way we were going.
I mean, either, honestly. Or are we good with the 300 tons delivered from Miller Mason for 6,500?
We've got a motion.
Oh, we're good,
yes.
we're good?
We're good,
Sorry,
move
okay.
on.
That's why we were looking at you like, what's next?
I got distracted by the math.
You're spending money,
So
what's next?
I'm not spending money. Well, so Larry's gonna meet with Craftco next week. They're the company who makes the mastic seal product. As you know, we're still waiting to have the company come down. We haven't got a definitive date because the weather's been slowing them down to do Wayne's Way and Fawn Trail. It's the same product. We have the opportunity to also apply that ourselves. So the hope was we would kind of watch and see how these guys do it when they come down. Larry reached out to the manufacturer. They will supply the machine if we buy material from them. So just kind of want to get a cost to compare what we're having it hired done versus what we could do it for in-house. So Larry's gonna meet with him next week to see the quantity we would need, how to calculate your quantity, and also the cost. So that'll be done next week. We have finally caught up with leveling some of the grades between the rains that we had. And the last thing I have is a thanks to Steve Schulman at Schulman Farms for donating the straw that the township uses to reseed the grades after we've been leveled. So thanks to them for donating that straw. That's all I have.
Thanks, Steve. You have any old business, Kenny?
Oh, old?
Yep.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that, sorry. Yeah, just a reminder of the budget hearing on July 2nd at 6:15, and that's prior to our regular meeting.
Thank you. Vision?
No more business.
I'll do it. Michelle.
Did we have anything on this market yet? Did you get anything back? That's brilliant.
No, but Richard's here and I know I see him sit up there sometimes, so he might have some answers.
What are we talking about?
The farmer's
Well,
market.
I'm not allowed to set up, we know I'm not allowed to set up here, so you're not talking about Harlan Township market. Don't worry, plan, that's where I go, plan, is that what you're
Well, we're
talking
thinking
Yeah.
about going one here. The lady that usually does it didn't approach us this year, so we're just,
about? I know she's down Goshen Grind.
okay.
I tell you what, you want a little gossip?
Nah.
I was down at the House of Honey, Clearmont County House of Honey, and she's got her own opinions about this lady that does that. And she said the reason she was told they're not in Harlan Township anymore is because that lady didn't want the drama going on with all the fire chief stuff and everything. So that's what she's telling why she's not doing the Harlan Township market this year, why she's down there. So yeah, I think we ought to stick it in her eye and do one.
Well, how does lands work? Like,
Show
because that's
up.
what we were trying to figure out,
You
like
show
who's liable, who, if
Show
there's
up.
certain things.
I've never signed anything. There's a new guy this year. He's been there 2 or 3 weeks. He called them. They said, just show up. That's literally what you gotta do. Now, there's a hot dog vendor, and because of the food stuff and
Right.
that, now he had to go through presenting and making
Right.
sure. But for the produce and meat and honey, just show up.
So even though it's on a government owned
Show up.
property,
I've
they
never-
have
I've never
nothing.
signed a waiver. I've never read rules. It's kind of self-policed by the Bone, Bill Bain, I think his name actually. He's kind of a long timer, so, they kind of police it themselves at this point.
Oh.
But no, you just show up with what you got and set your table up and wait for somebody to come by. Now, I won't say that's the way it is most markets, I mean, because I've read most, and again, you know, I think a lot comes down to liability, and to me, having people in the parking lots, probably less liability than letting them come in the building for this meeting, so, to me, it's just not that big of a deal to have, you know, there's no light poles to run into or anything now, you know, so, to me, it's just not that big at the most. Have somebody sign a waiver, but I know I probably wouldn't get an insurance policy to come up here and sell, you know, honey for a few weeks, but
You know about the other markets, what day would be a good day and hours for us to do one here?
I told you about how my mind worked. They're doing theirs down Goshen 4 to 7, so I'd say do like 1 to 5 on Thursday.
On Thursdays?
Yeah. So when they're on their way to Goshen, they'll just stop here instead.
I mean, seriously.
Well, I tell you that's when I would do it. I'd do it a little earlier, would be my opinion. But I mean, I like the idea of a Saturday morning, but Beersdorfers does kind of their own home market on Long Sperling, so don't really want to get in the, you know, they put in work and stuff on that, so don't really want to get in that. So during the week, but I think earlier, because to me is, you know, Blanchester's is 12 to 5, and usually you get a pretty good crowd from 12 to 2:30 or 3, then it lulls, then you catch some more people on their way home from work and stuff. And some people like to get out and get it done, and, you know, don't want to wait around all day till 4 or 5 o'clock to go to a farmer's market. That's my opinion, is a little earlier.
So
I wouldn't be able to do it on Thursdays until middle of July, but yeah, overall, that's what I'd say. Let's see if we can't beat that lady down there. The guy that I met at Blanchester that's been selling produce, they live on Nauvoo. He's got the same story I have. She wouldn't let him sell because she's already got that natural. What's that guy that does the produce and honey on Thompson Road? That her favorite vendor for that. And he didn't know she was the one doing Goshen, so he's looking for a market. So he called, but you know, he got the same line from her down in Goshen too. That we already have somebody. So
you're thinking Thursdays noon to 5?
Well, I mean, it can be any day.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I'd say that's just the way my mind
I don't know what
works.
days the markets are.
If she's down there telling people that basically Harlan Township's not capable of supporting a farmer's market because of their internal strife, then I'd like to, my mind works is, well, let's see if we can't just go right head up with her then.
Lebanon's Thursday, right?
Yeah.
And what do you say, Blanchester is Wednesday?
Blanchester's Wednesday. I probably at this point wouldn't give up Blanchester to come here because I've at this point kind of got people that recur.
Does anybody know any other local markets, what days they do theirs? It's what,
like
Morrow does one, don't they?
Yeah, I'm not sure when Morrow's is. Like your family's Deerfield Saturday morning.
Loveland's is Tuesday,
Loveland's is Tuesday?
3 to 6:30.
Deerfield's the one on at the park on Irwin Simpson.
Yeah, and what used to be a golf course up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something.
That's it.
Oh, the old you have, sir.
Huh?
Oh, the old you have, sir.
Well, I guess we'll continue to work on that.
We got to mid-July.
That's a new, farmers market cemetery, bids. We agreed to put that out to bid, right? The, cemetery drive,
I think we agreed to do that long,
I'm pretty
a couple
sure.
years ago.
and then,
Yeah.
It's coming.
Steve, if we get you the information on that, we can, let's get that set up.
Put a bid together.
Yeah.
If you throw together how wide you want it, and I'll put something together, sure.
Okay. I think Richard has some of that, don't you?
How's that an extra?
As far as
Can
the,
you take a picture of it, Steve? This is proprietary.
I got an email for him.
But no, I mean, that's, I mean, I went out there and, I mean, it's been a couple years now, but, you know, I went out with the tape and I measured it all off. Of course, you know, Ed was looking for like engineered drawings. They're not engineered drawings or
I
anything.
use plans.
But, you know, they are actual, you know, I mean, I do things in Excel, so it is gridded out in Excel and kind of marked out, you know, the squares are the potential lots, the grave lots. So each of those squares are 8 graves. So, you know, but there are, yeah, they're pretty small on that, but no, there are measurements and stuff. I think it's 90 feet to connect from the existing drive. And then if you do the whole oval, what, 820 or something like that, I think.
you got summary of his measure at just under 1,000 linear feet of drive to do the oval. That creates approximately 676 new 10-foot graves, or 708 graves if they were laid out at 9.5 feet.
Yeah, basically you get another row if you do 9.5, which right now they're all at 9, which makes it tight for graves and headstones and that.
Right.
9.5 would be fine, but 10 is what the new Sperling and the Wesley Chapel new section, both of those were laid out at 18 by 20 for the lots. So you can either copy off of that, or like I say, get 32 more graves by doing 9.5 inside that circle and basically getting another row of lots.
It makes it a lot easier work on the 10-foot.
Yeah, I mean 10, but you know, it works both ways. I mean, it's tight with 9, 10, you've got room to spare. So, you know, again, it's.
I think the 10-foot would help on cutting down on the headstones and start leaning, you know, after you dig.
Yeah. I mean, you get different opinions on that. Like the guy at Weirley, he wish he could pour every one over the vault, because it's right now, you know, it's got a solid, you know, bottom. So yeah, sometimes that works to your favor, sometimes it doesn't. But
we still need to get a few more figures on that then before we put that out there.
So we want to have any discussion on it, or we just want to put this up for bid?
No, we need to get some more measurements on exactly how wide the driveway is going to be. We know that there's 2 pipes that are needed. We already have fill dirt up there, so they won't have to haul any of that in.
Well, can I ask you a question? Because I mean, you know, I've talked to all 3 of you guys out there one time or another, and I know one thing Ed's concern is you know, that drainage. Mm-hmm. Does anybody know? Can we put a section of the drive which is otherwise not good for graves in that low spot, or right, would it require just too much culvert and drain tile and everything else to be able to put a driveway down through there?
No, it can be done. I talked with the county engineers, 2 different county engineers about it, and also your son Trent, about how we can do that so it wouldn't be an issue.
Well, if we are going to proceed with this and get estimates, I would like to address the culvert at the property line right there. Mm-hmm. It needs riprap around that because it's washing out, and I foresee issues with Cliff that lives there.
There's already some riprap in there, but I've already talked to him. We're going to put some more back in it.
It needs more, and I'm not excited about putting the driveway in the lowest part. That's just me, but you know, I don't do it for a living every day.
They say
if you have people that are willing to stand behind that and they want to do that, I would let that go.
That's what they
Those
do
are my
for a
two
living.
concerns right there.
I mean, is that something that the Warren County engineer get involved in, or is that because it is a cemetery drive, it's not much different than putting a driveway in at your
Yeah,
house or
it's
something?
just like a driveway, but like I said, I had, Mark Dawson was out once, and then I think it was Jason Fisher. Jason Fisher. Both of them out there on two different occasions.
Have they looked at it since, because if I remember right, the tile that was put in last year was kind of the test. Let's see if this works in the spring after we get all the rain.
Right.
Whether, I mean, has anybody, I guess, looked close enough to know whether are we good with the tile there, or is there something else needed
Well,
on that soil?
There'll be more needed. We'll have to still put a ditch in on the other side. We'll have to put underlayment, gravel.
When you and I were there was no water traveling through it and it was wet.
Yeah. I mean, there's one area, I mean, where it where Cliff's culvert, the long section of his runs. I mean, you guys cut out a little spot so it could run better, but it catches where it runs under Cliff's driveway right into the cemetery and then comes off the hill. And I mean, in fact, on the map, I've blacked that out because I just don't think we should ask anybody to bury anybody in that, because that's the area that's about the only area where it stays, fairly wet. Like sometimes you'll see where they've mowed all around there except for that area. So I don't know if there's something can be done with where Cliff's culvert that runs under his driveway and right now just runs right over the ground into the cemetery.
We could talk about putting another line.
Weren't you?
We could talk about putting another line up there where we think there might be a spring where you and I looked at it.
Yeah.
Are you still recording?
I'm good. I'm running battery right now, so we should check in.
Put the,
Nice.
try doing this with kids in the building. It's great fun. Great fun.
It's great. Okay.
That's what I was getting ready to do.
Everybody.
So we'll get some more information on that, Steve, for you before you put that out. I believe that's all I had on
Old. New business, Mr. Perginsky?
Yes, I have quite a bit.
My battery on my phone's not even gonna last so long.
Well, I have the township appointments for District 10. Basically, it is each township representative has to vote for a representative for the district for township appointments. And I was going to see if I could make a motion to be the person to vote for that.
You can't make a motion to.
I can't do that.
I'll make a motion, we point it.
I'll second
It's the
that.
same paperwork that I had at a
Yeah.
meeting as correspondence and I emailed to you guys.
We need to have it in the record. So if you've got it, I can give you these.
There we go.
Okay.
Don't get excited.
Yeah, exactly. I'll have it handy.
Here's one right here.
Thank you.
And we had talked about last week, or the last meeting, about the mechanical drawings that the county is requiring. I have an estimate from Marquee Engineering out of downtown Cincinnati. And I think everybody's got a copy of that. And their estimate was $12,450 to do the engineering management, pre-engineering MEP survey, a mechanical, electrical, and plumbing permit plan, 2 drawing releases, and client review. There could be some additional cost if they have to, the fire alarm, yeah, basically all fire protection stuff. in a firehouse, both places. So if you'd like to read that and maybe some discussion on that.
Say this is required by the county.
One of my thoughts that we mentioned before, you were talking a little bit earlier was, is there a contractor that we could contact to try to get a ballpark number on this project? To see what, can we, I don't know the answer to this, why I'm asking, can we reach out to the health department and see if they are gonna make us do something with the septic? Can we just, and I don't know if a company would ballpark it or not, to see, because, if this thing comes in at $1 million, it's kind of a moot point.
I could check in with the health department, but I don't know that I'm gonna be able to, I don't know that anybody there has much tenure to be able to give us a legitimate answer.
How do they?
I think Chris Balzer is the only one I know that has any tenure, and it might be difficult to get him to commit to saying, okay, this is what you want to do, this is what you'll well prove. There's pretty high turnover in that area. But I'll be willing to try.
So you're saying we should get a ballpark figure before we
Well,
proceed with this?
my only concern is that we are gonna get, we obviously the engineering has already, we're gonna be at, we were at 15, I think before 15, 16, we're another 12. So we're, I just hate to get $40, $50, $60,000 deep into a project that's gonna be, maybe out of our price range anyway. I don't know how we exactly get, if it's possible to get those answers or not without spending 30, 40.
It'd be nice to get a contractor that also has the qualifications to do all this.
Sure, you can find a one-stop shop for that, but I just don't know if there's, if we can get like a high and a low, it's going to be at least this much and maybe as much as this much, just so we kind of have a working number to go from. I don't have any good guesses. I don't know. If we have to do a septic system and a fire alarm system, I could very easily see us at $1 million here pretty quick. $1 million isn't doing it for anymore.
Well, as far as septic, I don't know that the capacity is going to change. Maybe your leach field. Anything they would typically require would be to add more to your leach field.
Definitely not my area of expertise.
But it was already built for the capacity all the time. In other words, if there's people here, that's what it's built for. So if somebody's staying here, it's really the same as having a crowd here.
Yeah, I don't see
the septic being an issue.
I don't know enough about it to make an educated guess on that one.
It's designed for maximum. It's designed for the firehouse to have all the guests there, and you're having a party, and it can handle everybody that's coming in and out. So as far as 4, 5, 6 people staying there, I don't see how that having any impact on it. Because it's designed for a lot more than that. But as far as, I'll check in with them and see what they have to say. But I just doubt that somebody's going to have enough tenure to be able to
Just tell you.
Do you know anybody that can kind of give you a ballpark?
On a per square foot,
Just kind of looking at the plans of what we
I don't know. We can make those phone calls and sure. It's going to be starting with a Google search. I don't know anybody that does commercial contracting. Do you?
Yeah. And Steve has dealt with that as well.
There's a lot of different avenues we could go. We wanted to change directions. You can go design, bid, build. You can go construction manager at risk. You do an RFP, request for proposal from a firm that does the architectural, does the engineering, does it all. And require them to provide a guaranteed maximum price. You still have to go through the design, but then you'll know your pricing and what it is. I think, Steve and I is concerned in talking amongst ourselves with some of the guys in the firehouse that have a little bit of knowledge about this stuff is, if the septic needs upgrade, we know that the building does not have an automatic fire alarm system. That's probably going to be required. Adding bathrooms, cutting into concrete floors. I understand it's not new construction, but new construction on a firehouse right now is over $500 a square foot. That's what both Goshen and Loveland are paying for their two firehouses right now. So and we're only renovating a small piece of the building, but if you do the math on how many square feet that is, that puts us $100,000 over budget already. Plus the architectural drawings, plus the engineering drawings. So we're at like 640 already, based upon that, like a rough estimate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Steve and I's concern is we don't want to spend $50,000 and find out it's $1 million project.
Well, can you guys kind of get together on this and look at the different options we have and see what the best way to proceed is?
That's all I have. We've already covered the other stuff. The cemetery drawings was my other one, but we already got them.
Bridget, the RMW will be here, I think it's the 24th, next Tuesday, to service the mini splits on that end and also to look at that warranty work on the roof unit. I sent Mikey a message, but
Yeah, he gave it to us in the group message.
okay.
So we did pass it along.
And then also, Bright Acres wants to lease room 108 down here on this end. The Kirby and Company has been leasing on a month-to-month basis for $250. Correct me if I'm wrong, you said $750 on that room, right?
Yes.
I talked to Kirby and Company. They want to rent the janitor's room for $200, like half the size of the other rooms. We've got it all cleaned out. Larry's been working on it. JR is going to finish cutting out the vents that are in the ceiling and cover the walls. And he's also going to run a water line outside because we don't have any outside spigots as part of the deal for them to rent that room. Kirby and Company wants to rent that room for $200. Bright Acres wants to rent room 108 for $750. You guys okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
So that gives you the seed on Kirby and Company. And then once they get their stuff moved, once we get that room done, then you can work with Bright Acres on the other. Good. That's all I have.
You have any new, Mrs. Williams?
I do, due to some conflicting things and schedules, our July 16th meeting, which is just our regular session meeting, again, due to just conflicting schedules with the board, we are going to request to move that meeting to a special session, which is basically just going to be our regular session, but you have to call it a special since it's not on our regular night, to July 23rd. So I need a motion for that, please.
I'll make a motion that we move our regular meeting, what was it, July? What's
July 16th regular
July
session meeting
16th
to a
special
special.
session on the 23rd.
Second.
Oh, I got it.
Any comments? Mr. Lewis?
I was gonna ask about the farmer's market, but that already talked about it, but now, especially after hearing Jenny say that, and knowing you guys now for 8 years on the cemetery stuff, is there any chance at all you're gonna make a decision July 2nd to where people can, sell, start selling in July? You know what I mean? Basically, you guys, whatever discussions you've yet to have to decide what you're going to require, when it's going to be, is there any chance you're going to have all those answers on July 2nd so that we can actually start selling in mid-July rather than waiting till at least the 23rd of July before those
We
answers?
got it worked out with Bright Acres on where to set up, how to set it up. And basically, we need to come up with a day and a time and then just double check the prosecutor's office, I
Like
guess.
we have the vendors agreements, we use for the firehouse, and those are already done and been approved by the prosecutor, so.
All you have to do is sign a vendor's agreement. So it should be able to get done on that meeting.
Promise.
Is Bright Acres going to oversee, what do you?
Listen, I cannot
envision your
make any
role?
promises with that because of us being midsummer camp, me and April are in the building 2 3 days a week for field trips and everything else. So I cannot guarantee we would be here to oversee any of that. If we're here, absolutely, I will help monitor, but I cannot promise that it's going to be.
Do we really need it?
If you guys don't make it too complicated, I don't mind even being a contact for people to call and stuff, much less.
I
You
vote
know,
Richard.
if you tell me where it's gonna be,
That's what I was
where
thinking
the
the whole
best
time. Volunteered.
area, that sort of
I heard
stuff
it.
is.
Get emotional.
But now, I don't wanna do it if I gotta ask people for insurance policies and to pay rent and all that kind of stuff. If it's pretty simple, just a community market for people to come sell what they got, then yeah, I don't mind, just piecing it this a little bit.
You don't mind, then put your number out there.
Never.
Do you want me to make flyers or like how are we gonna get the word out there that we are doing this?
We can do that.
Well, that's one of the reasons I've got the guy on Nauvoo I told, he's looking for another. I know he'll come with produce and stuff, and so I don't know what he was selling plants. I don't know whether that's done or not, but I can check with a couple others. If you guys are open to a date suggestion or a day suggestion, or if you already have a day, for sure, then I can tell them. But but I think for the most part, I mean,
4 to 5.
shoot, I was just over Ed's the other day. Ed, what day could you set up, Ed? You got more tomatoes than what 2 townships could eat.
Great. Why don't we just plan on that Thursdays 1 to 5 then?
Sounds good.
Because the only
All we
other
need
one
to do
on
is-
Thursday, I think it's 11, that's on. Yeah. One far enough away from that.
Pretty far.
So what,
And all we need to do is have an agreement. They can sign an agreement.
Well, we
Good to go.
already got it, it's just a vendor's thing.
Right. So if Rich was to get an agreement signed, that's all we need. So 1 to 5, Thursday. Agreement signed.
when would you
Rick's
like,
gonna promote it.
the 10th, the 17th, 24th? What's a good first Thursday to do this?
Yeah, I wouldn't be. Let's
Because
see.
you said you're not available till mid-July,
Yeah. So
so
what is that third Thursday?
17th.
Yeah, that would probably be the first day I'd be available to actually, where I know I'd be here.
What day you see?
Start July 17th.
And run to win.
September to July.
Yeah, I think they naturally usually fizzle out, I think, by the end of September.
Yeah,
So
like
just
September,
stay
what,
through
end of-
September, and that's.
Yeah, some people have early stuff, some people have late stuff.
I do know, again, the guy I've been talking about, they're doing mums and stuff, so he could be here end of October with mums and that, but I think,
So September 25th is the last Thursday in September.
yeah, I'd say I think it did pretty well naturally. I mean, I have hunting obviously after that, but from my experience up there, usually all the fresh produce is pretty well done by the end of September.
If you're that hardcore, you wanna stand out there when it's snowing and sell honey?
Well, that's what.
So is that what we're doing? Thursday, starting July 17th?
Yep.
1 to 5, farmer's market?
Keep it simple, and if we need, I guess, set some rules for next year because it has gone haywire, then.
Richard, are you okay with me putting your name and number on the flyer?
Yeah, put my home number right, Steve. I told Steve I don't like I don't like myself. I'm not voted in, so I don't need to have my cell phone out there everywhere, but my phone
Okay.
number you can put there. I guess is that what you got like on
Or
the
an
website?
email, do you have an email?
I don't
Or
have
I
the,
think
the website just comes to the firehouse, so it's like one view at all. And then
You can put the email I use for little bee business is BEE Rich Acres at Gmail.
Any comments?
Mikey bought the transition strip, which is the last part to all of that, so he hopefully should have that done sometime this week, next week, and then that should be complete.
Sorry, Bridget, what was that?
A transition strip just to go down by
I
the
dropped the
door.
ball, forgot that one.
He's like, I'm just gonna buy it, so just buy it and get it done. And then he also suggested to not move anything across that carpet. If it needs to be moved, you can have dollies or a wheel or two people, or don't drag anything across the carpet. And the desk has been moved in, if you haven't noticed that.
He's already got that one.
Perfect.
Like you
Perfect.
get that. I'm not got it yet, but I think I got your picture that it's.
Anybody else?
I've got a question in reference to, does the township take care of Marl Rossberg there at, Rochester, Kazadale? It's, the vision there is kind of tough.
We can try to cut it back. If it comes off our road, we can probably cut it back some.
It was cut back previously, but it's growing out a little bit again, and it's kind of tough there.
Take care of that.
Richard?
We have two limit, and you're out. Two strikes.
Are we talking about here? I know that's kind of where Mark's been thinking about. Are we talking about the market here or back down
Here.
the firehouse?
Yep, here, and you guys will just set up along, like the closest parking spots to the road, just right there, just because we'll still have staff here, and then our parents picking up.
Yeah,
You can have the whole,
you'll have to show me some.
yeah, it's the whole green grass area out there that you see, just
No,
from one side to the next.
Yeah.
Just leave obviously the drive-throughs open, so our parents can pick up and leave, and staff and all that.
We were gonna try to divert everybody to the market, like I said.
Well, yes, so our parents pick up around back.
Well, no, they
anyway.
have to come there before they go.
Yes, that is part of the thing, but
They'll see you.
yeah, they will. But yeah, you guys will be able to have that, and then if you get too big and need more spaces, then we'll just have to discuss where that can
I
happen.
mean, it'd be nice if that's the case, but I mean, if we can get 4 or 5 consistent farm vendors,
Yeah.
not these crafts and masseuses and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I think that'll be good.
Anybody else? Not Richard.
Not named
I'm
Richard.
just kidding. Nothing? All right. This time I'm gonna go into executive session under ORC 121.22 G1 for the hiring compensation of the public employees.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Brzezinski, Mr. Kern,
Yes.
Mr. Shelton.
Yes.
Just like always, as a reminder, I will leave the video run. The audio will be turned off. Audio's back on. Yeah.
At this time, we'll adjourn executive session, return to regular session, and action will be taken.
The second on the.
Second.
We're gonna go on and do a roll, just to have a roll call. Mr. Brzezinski.
Yes.
Mr. Kern.
Yes.
Mr. Shelton.
Yes.
So board, at this time, I would recommend, based upon what we've been talking about since I've been here, the situation with staffing, especially our ambulance, has gotten worse, not better. Just as an example, in the last 5 days, we had 8 runs. 7 of those runs was handled by mutual aid departments. Those mutual aid departments have made it very clear that they can't continue to provide a free service to Harlan Township that their residents are paying for. We know that the levy failed, but regardless of the levy failure, we still have an obligation to provide service to the residents of Harlan Township. We do have reserve funds in the fire and EMS budget that are in addition to our annual revenue. Typically, those monies are saved for capital purchases or an emergency. And I feel that we're at the point of an emergency from a staffing standpoint. So my recommendation tonight is that we authorize the fire chief to proceed with starting to transition the department to paid on call and part-time. And the next meeting, I'll bring back a series of motions to you, how that process works, what the pay scale would be, job descriptions for those positions, policy manual. Majority of that stuff I've already got done and ready to go. But I feel that as your fire chief, I have to do something to address what we do and what we do the most, which is responding to emergencies. That's why we exist, right? So if we have the money, I understand not wanting to touch our reserve fund, but if we have the money to do it, I think it's a smart move to do it. With that said, it's a temporary fix to a longer, bigger solution. So we could do it through the end of the year. We could probably get into the first month or 2 of next year, and that's about it. So, but this does get us through the end of the year. It gets us through the levy campaign, and hopefully we pass a levy, and we'll have to explain to the people that we're doing everything we can to improve service and provide service delivery to the community. But at the end of the day, if we don't pass the levy in November, things are going to get really ugly. We will not be able to continue part-time staffing program. And I'm concerned that we'll even have enough money once we start paying mutual aid departments to run the department. So at this time, what I'm looking for is just a motion to allow the fire chief to start the process of transitioning fire and EMS to a paid on-call and part-time system.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Thank you. More to follow.
Motion to pay the bills.
Make a motion to pay the bill.
Jane, do you have any correspondence?
Yes, correspondence, sorry. Who seconded the bills? I'm sorry. I thought you did the first on the bills.
I didn't second.
Thank you.
You sent us this already.
I know, and I told you in my email I was gonna bring it with me.
Thank you.
Do you read the emails?
I read it. Obviously, I read it, so
No,
I knew
it's,
I knew it was here.
it was selective reading.
Oh, my gosh.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
Like selective hearing?
Mhm. And then just a reminder that the old school cruise-in is this Saturday from 2 to 3 here.
And no rain.
No, but it's going to be hot.
No rain for that.
Good news was the weather. Oh, we're all being Tennessee, so it made all of it.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks. Do I have a motion to adjourn?